Kroll Farm near Long Prairie is mainly an organic dairy farm, currently run by Hans and Lynn Kroll. Hans's great-great-grandfather started it all, but it was Hans's 91-year-old dad, John, better known as Opa, who added another revenue source, maple syrup.
I made the syrup with my grandma on a kettle, in an open kettle, and then the Forestry came out and we were cruising the woods to see what was there, and he said, "You got enough maple here, you should be in the business."
Fast forward to today. The Kroll family taps 1,200 maple trees themselves and buys sap from several hundred more. Collecting it is all about timing. Hans's brother Tom is an expert. He's a semi-retired DNR forester with experience having taught forest management planning at St. John's. He says the combination of freezing and thawing gets the process going.
It has to meet that up and down cycle, because then the ice crystals that form inside the tree as it freezes create little vacuum pockets as the ice forms around them. And that creates a pressure then as they thaw and expand that pushes the sap out. So it kind of vacuums the sap towards that hole we've drilled in the tree. And then as it thaws again, rather than push it back into the tree, it pushes it out the hole towards us and your maple syrup.
This is a family affair. When it's collection time, it's all hands on deck or in the woods. The sap is collected bag by bag and eventually brought back to the sugar shack where Hans is ready to start turning it into syrup.
The sap generally is 2.5%, close to, and I have to remove enough water through evaporation, or I use the RO process also, to concentrate the sugar that's naturally there to at least 66% for it to be, that's the national standard for pure maple syrup.
This year's sap is testing pretty good, between 3 and 4%, and Hans runs the sap through an RO system that takes even more water out, helping to speed up the cooking process. Handful after handful of wood feeds the evaporator as it cooks the sap into syrup. This work is precise, but calculating how much syrup they can make each year is left to Mother Nature.
You generally would expect a quart of finished syrup per tap on a normal year. So we have 1,600 taps out. I would hope to make at least 400 gallons of syrup off of that.
Although Hans can remember back to age 6 when he began helping to make the syrup, soon the whole farm operation will be turned over to another generation. The Krolls have several children, but his daughter Margaret and her husband Ben have stepped up to take over the family farm. She says the move is a very sentimental one.
Something I always wanted to do, but I didn't know if I'd meet somebody who wanted to do it with me, and I wasn't ready to tackle it on my own, so that I'm glad that he was willing to try it, because it is something that I think means a lot to continue through the generations.
Ben left a job in marketing to help work the farm. It's an idea that began years ago when he met Margaret, and now he's all in. The organic milk, beef, garlic. Soon they hope to produce honey and, yes, the maple syrup.
Well, up until 8 years ago when I started coming out here and helping with some of the maple syruping and just seeing, what goes on and the people coming in the door and just hanging out, it was kind of a special little thing. And it always, I guess, was in the back of our minds was to come out here and do this. So it's a special opportunity for us.
The couple have a son named Ezra who loves farm life and could potentially be the 7th generation, but they say they don't want to put the cart ahead of the tractor.
Got it. We tell him often, though, that he does not have to be a farmer, even though he's 2 and he doesn't understand yet. We're like, you can do whatever you want.
Hopefully
you don't have to do it.
I'm just excited to have another work hand.
The Kroll family is a hard-working lot, and to start their busy work day, what do you think is for breakfast?
But my wife makes granola using our syrup, and so I'm kind of a granola morning guy and everything. But she'll use the syrup, in recipes and also in making bread and everything. But a lot of people think we just assume that we're eating pancakes every day. We don't.
For KXRA and Voice of Alexandria, I'm Joe Korkowski.